stuff that we're talking about. Oh, fuck,
No,
man.
let's talk about it, buddy. Let's do
Let's
it.
talk about it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Prophetcast. Today is October 19th, 2014, and as always, Prophetcast is brought to you by the Thought Prophets. Is an atheist/secular group dedicated to the promotion of open discussion, continuous learning, skepticism, and science. You can check our website at www.thoughtprophets.com, which I need to update. You can follow us on Twitter by searching for Prophetcast, as well as Thought Prophets. You can join our discussion on Facebook by simply searching for Thought Prophets, and you can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, or go to podcast.thoughtprophets.com and watch our entire archive on YouTube by searching for Prophetcast.
Yes.
As a reminder, you can tweet your questions and comments to us directly by mentioning @Prophetcast or using the hashtag Prophetcast. Or for those of you cool enough to be watching, use the live Q&A, because it's awesome. I am Steve Hayes, and with me today is the awesome, spectacular, stupendous, amazing, fantastic, great Dave Carey!
Oh.
Hi, I'm excited, Dave, today. How are you?
That's far too many, like, awesome, words to try and describe me. I think that I would really only subscribe to awesome, spectacular, stupendous, amazing, fantastic, great. Well, I guess all of them.
Yeah. Well, see, see why I do this. Heretic woman. Hello. How are you? I'm glad that you are here. I missed you.
I haven't even opened up the Q&A yet. Thanks.
Because I care about the people and what they have to say, David.
I know.
Just saying.
But I'm doing okay. I mean, because you were there, but the other people were not. We went to the pumpkin patch out at Maris Farms, and that was pretty fun.
We looked at some pumpkins. Went through the corn maze, the same maze that I proposed to my wonderful wife in. Aww. I've got to shut my phone off too, so that way it doesn't interrupt a great story like that.
Oh, I know. It's so wonderful.
It was. No, I remember it. I was there.
Right. I mean, because we were like the second couple that had done the proposal at Maris Farms, but we were the first ones to do it in the corn maze. And it was funny. We actually after you left, my mom knows the owner of the place, and he actually said that since then there has been an influx of people performing.
Since I left? Are you serious?
No, after you left. And
that's what I'm saying. Since I left, there's been an increase of people proposing at Maris Farms. That's bullshit. I'm offended by that.
Since we did. Since it was our plan, my plan. Since the last 4 years, there have been an influx of people proposing inside of the maze. Yes.
Gotcha. And it had all to do with you.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Because I am a game changer.
There you go. Good. Because I thought for a second there you said that since I had not come back to Maris Farms, that there had been an increase of people getting married or proposing, I suppose.
Yes.
I don't know. That's offensive slightly.
Yes, you're the factor keeping gay marriage down, Steve. You're that factor.
Oh, well, so much for all my street cred.
I know.
Nice. So,
what's new with you? Any recent news going on?
As for recent news, no. I mean, we, getting back from Great Wolf, that was awesome. I've got some pretty fun ideas.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was a blast. I definitely recommend anybody who at least lives in Washington has the resources to go there. It was a lot of fun. It was a great place.
I think there's Great Wolf Lodge that it's like a national thing, isn't it?
It might be. There's a couple of places, I think. I can only speak for where I am near and know of. Otherwise, I'm ignorant to everything else that it does.
I really thought that it was a national thing.
I thought it was on an Indian res, like an Indian res. So I thought it was like a type of thing, but maybe not. Maybe wrong. Maybe not. Anyways, it was a blast.
Seriously, yeah, I definitely recommend it also for anybody who has kids. And I mean, our friends, our child list friends went with us, and they even had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Arcade and all sorts of cool stuff. So that was really cool. That was really fun. It's great to get back, and I'm also really excited because I just got my desk kind of situation half set up. So I'm celebrating with all these frillies behind me. You feel like you have yourself a space?
Right? Celebrate with Frillies, come on. Yeah, you know. So yeah, no. Like I said, I'm kind of excited. I kind of wanted to do this for a little while, and I didn't have to do any drilling. So, there
you go.
You can't see me. I don't know. I'm sorry. I can see me. Oh, I had Dave selected. I'm sorry. I just kept looking at Dave. My bad. Hi. You can't see all my frillies. I did. Sorry.
So
I'm a novice.
Okay, I was worried that people wouldn't be able to see my Das Boot that I'm drinking off of here.
They saw nothing but you. They saw nothing but you.
Yes.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, the song there. So you can see my frillies now. There you go. Now the song makes a little more sense. My office is an absolute mess. It's completely torn apart, and I sweat a lot. And I moved a bunch of things, and you know, I thought I can get this done in 15 minutes. 45 minutes later, 44 minutes later, I got it done.
Yeah, 5 minutes before we're supposed to go on the air. What the fuck, man?
I got this. I played hockey. Yeah, no. So no, I saw that you have a bunch of notes, so I'm sure that I could just ride the coattails of you. So I mean,
well, of course. I mean,
duh.
We don't plan things, but I plan things.
No, the only thing I plan on is being here for you, not you, David, but you viewers, and you, David. Actually, I definitely come here for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of the main reason actually I come here is for you.
Well, okay.
Thank you.
But since you don't have any relevant recent news,
I always have relevant recent news.
And they are nice frills, Heretic Woman. They are nice indeed.
I think so too. Yay!
But I wanted to mention that next week we're going to be having Mark Nebo and Paul Qcaster on to do our. I think this is really going to be our first sort of moderated difference of opinion conversation.
It definitely is, yes, and
because I mean we have a difference of opinion all the time, but we haven't had like two people on to talk about the same issue specifically because they don't agree on it. Exactly.
Well, we also haven't had where like you have been right either. So there's also that part of things too. But we can get to that at a different point, right? We'll focus on.
Oh, I know.
Right. But no, I'm actually really excited. Like, you know, we've had some. Nancy Drew actually has built up this awesome freaking poster. Or this awesome little like I wish I could make it a poster, but like this tweet that we're gonna put out, it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked for it. This one tweet I'm gonna post out like 500 times. But no, I'm really excited to actually kind of do the moderation because it's like I really want to hear both sides. Both sides are really like I really like what Mark is doing. I think that it's a great idea. It's a great concept, and I definitely like what Paul has to say and his kind of concept of those who just kind of hide behind.
Right, that
the hashtag and not do anything.
That the hashtag is really just kind of like a trend thing to do, where you're not necessarily going to go out there and do anything except tweet. I mean, I can understand where Paul is coming from, and I definitely appreciate his opinion, of course. And I'm going to try and be as impartial as possible.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? I'm just going to be as belligerent as I can, but what else is new, right?
Well, I mean, I am going to be hosting, so I have to be impartial. You can be as belligerent as you want.
Good. Yeah. See, I'm just the special guest. I'm special guesting this again.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. Whoa, that sounds crazy. I don't know if that's just my mic and me being able to hear it. And
I didn't hear anything that you were freaking out about.
Oh. Well, I just hear myself, and I'm just amazed myself. Wow, is that what I sound like? Wow. No. So speaking of what I sound like, and people who sound like idiots, Bryan Fischer is in the news again. At least is in the Prophetcast news, right?
Well, of course, because
Dysfunction Junction, Bryan Fischer.
Dysfunction Junction,
shit
immediate
on his radio show.
Serious, an immediate hit cult classic of Dysfunction Junction with Bryan Fischer. Bryan Fischer, of course, well, he freaks out on every one of his shows, but this is something that just is a little bit, it caught my eye more than what he normally says, because Bryan Fischer says that Shepard Smith of Fox News debunked Ebola fears because he's a gay liberal. Imagine that.
Okay, because that's how I debunk my things. Is I look at their political.
Exactly. I mean, that's the only reason that his facts don't stand up in Bryan Fischer's mind, because he's a gay liberal. But
it makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. But to give this a little preface here, on Wednesday of this last week, Shepard Smith, or Shep Smith, to all of the cool kids, you're excused.
Thank you.
In a increasingly frequent moment of being a real voice of reason on the horrid shitstorm that is Fox News, Shep dispelled what he called hysterical voices on the radio and television that are using fear-mongering to spread hysteria about Ebola. In less than 4 minutes, this is an awesome, awesome clip if you Google it or if you look it up on YouTube. In less than 4 minutes, he breaks it down, just dispels all of the hysteria that all of these fucking talking heads are saying and all of the people like Bryan Fischer are talking about, saying that unless a medical professional has contacted you personally and told you of some exposure, we should fear not. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you should not be sitting here fearful of sending your kids to school unless there is a bulletin from a person from a PhD.
You're welcome.
Or you get a phone call saying that you have a threat of exposure, right? Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That
Totally.
Yeah.
And for Heretic Woman here, she asks, there's a gay liberal on Fox?
There is.
Well, it's funny because Shepard Smith, he is an outed gay or homosexual. Wow. Jeez.
You're a jerk.
I know. He is an outed
prick.
homosexual. And, I mean, he has what I would consider, like, middle to the right points of view, but sometimes he is definitely liberal in his interpretation of things and the way that he does things compared to others on Fox News. It's a breath of fresh air is what Shep Smith brings to Fox News.
Nice, which still probably smells, well, I mean, it still probably smells a bit like shit over there, so.
Well, I mean, comparable
sure.
to what he continues to say, is that the people saying and writing hysterical things are being very irresponsible, which is also a great point. You know, we have better medical facilities, easier access to medical care and treatment compared to these countries in Africa that are overridden with Ebola. You know, we just have much better access to medical care than these people do. But yeah, he goes on to, in this 4-minute video,
arguably.
In this 4-minute video, he then goes on to break down the entire situation in Texas using bare facts that the CDC...
Bare facts?
Bare facts.
Okay, not those.
Like man, bear, pig.
I was going to say, holy shit, bare facts. That's
right.
Heavy facts, man. All right.
Exactly. But he said that the CDC said that they expected other medical workers to get exposed in that same hospital that this gentleman was dying in, which they have, and they are quarantined, just as the CDC expected.
Right.
And what's awesome is that he breaks down the fact that there is politics at works also, which is fucking fantastic coming from a Fox News host. He literally says that politics are at work around Ebola, that the people in power are going to try and show that they have power over this disease. The people out of power are going to try and show that the ruling party, you know, is misstepping somehow in controlling this, and that midterm elections are here and they are going to use this as a tool. Another fucking fantastic thing that he says.
Interesting.
And I know, right? And he goes on to say, again, that this is a quote from him, we do not have an outbreak of Ebola in the United States. Nowhere. Right. We do have 2 healthcare workers who contracted the disease from a dying man. They are isolated. There is no information to suggest that the virus had spread to anyone in the general population of America. Population. Not one person in the general population in the United States. And he also said, right, exactly. It's like
wow, that's on Fox. Was all of this aired though?
All of this was aired on Fox.
Wow, that's really, really surprising.
I know, right? And he also went on to dispel the.
And now he's magic. Okay, not you.
Right. Yes. Dispel.
Yeah.
Dispel.
And he has gay powers. That's amazing.
The
awesome.
the conspiracy theory that the government and officials are lying about these facts for us. And he says that all the hysteria of people not allowing their kids to go to school for fear of being exposed is completely unproductive and has no basis in fact or reason. He said this is the fucking best part. He said the best thing you can do is go and get a flu shot. That the flu is easier to spread than Ebola.
Right. Oh, it absolutely
much
is.
More of a chance of being like in our population than Ebola.
That is, wow. I'm actually absolutely stunned that was on Fox News.
Oh, I know. Like,
Shepard, I'm not stunned by the facts. Like, so we've heard that again. I feel like if you just go and do some research and some basic fact check, you could find the same exact information that he's saying. That's just nice. Exactly. That's refreshing to hear that, I suppose, on Fox News. But
exactly. I mean, it's not the first time that he's kind of went on to what people would call a liberal-leaning, like, stance on some things. It's really he really is kind of an odd duck in the Fox News area. It's really interesting. It's, like I said, a breath of fresh air.
Duck or a beautiful swan.
Oh yes, an ugly duck. An ugly duck.
Now you're just being rude again. Seriously.
No, but I may be a little bit more rude here. But now reaching this around back to Bryan Fischer.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Bry is pissed at Shep. Bry mad at Shep. Bryan Fischer thinks that the reason Shepard Smith is saying all of this isn't because it's the right thing to do, not because you shouldn't use your national media platform to spread fear and hysteria. No, it's because he's a, quote, card-carrying liberal who has been outed as a homosexual. What? So he's down with the entire homosexual agenda. And even though he's on Fox News and people think that he's a conservative, he leans pretty hard to the left.
I don't have a card. I didn't know that we get cards.
I know, right?
I want a card to carry.
And I mean, which is funny in itself that you can only be one side or the other. You know, the idea that because you subscribe to a certain lifestyle, your political views must match that lifestyle.
Yeah, but right. That's it. Yeah, that's what we find on Fox News, though. They tend to perpetuate this stereotype type of thing, though. So
right.
I mean, that's not.
Where it's like, unless you share all of these specific conservative points on, like, abortion, gay marriage, like, you know, rights and things like that, that you're not really a conservative.
Yeah.
That because you may be liberal in some parts of your political, like, scheme, you cannot be conservative in other parts.
Of course not.
Right.
Fox News. And I wanted to hit on the point that hits on kind of what we're talking about here, but the fear-mongering, as Beth H. says, the fear-mongering of Fox News is causing more issues than Ebola itself, which I completely agree with.
Completely agree.
Yeah, so kind of going along the same lines. But again, I'm still absolutely just blown away about, you know, that was aired on Fox News. I've seen, you know, some of the things like with Jon Stewart that's been off the air, and how there's been some, I wouldn't say decent conversation, but some stuff that definitely should have been shown that was completely, you know, removed or whatever. But
oh no, yeah, like the major Fox host over there, I can't even think of his name.
Sean Hannity. You talking about that? Sean Hannity. I don't even know.
Doing it live.
Oh, you talking Bill O'Reilly?
Bill O'Reilly, yeah.
O'Reilly?
Where I have heard, you know, like post-interview interviews with some of his guests and things where, like, the majority of the shit that he says on air really is just, you know, for ratings and for, you know, as a ploy and things like that. But I wouldn't really believe it for the shit that he says on air. Yeah. It's like, you gotta have some fucking balls to say some of the shit that he says.
Or you just gotta be complete and utter ignorant fuckwad, really. I mean, that's the thing, is I really want to know, like, I really want to see if he's just like he is on his show, off his show.
Right.
I just couldn't imagine being around that man for anything longer than, like, I can't even, like, the 2 seconds I see him on, you know, that I see him and hear his voice, I can't even stand it. But
I think it would be interesting to have a conversation with Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, it would, but it's, Oh, it would be also really frustrating because he would, from what I've seen, at least, if you're a nobody, if you will, if you don't have a what a PhD or a PhD, if you don't have if you don't have the right stature or whatever, he usually tries to establish that dominance, that I'm smarter than you, and you know what I mean, and it's hard enough. That's what I mean. Like even watching like someone as smart as oh my God, Jon Stewart. Watching him actually have the debate and talk with him, like I could just imagine how frustrated I would be. I would have just probably turned to just calling him a fucking idiot and just like
and walking away.
Just like I'm done with you.
Fucking idiot. Throw
I'm absolutely not talking to you anymore. Yeah, so it's just.
But kind of tying it back. I mean, I still think that it's funny that because you subscribe to a certain lifestyle, you have to have these certain political views because I mean I would consider myself to be a liberal. I would consider myself to be a liberal on like social aspects, like when it comes down to the gay marriage and abortion and like people's rights and things like that. Definitely a liberal, but I would also consider myself somewhat conservative fiscally, like how the government spends our money and shit like that. Mm-hmm. I would rather be conservative with the way that our government spends our money than, not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can subscribe to the label as liberal, but with conservative views.
Yeah. I can see that. Apparently, Beth H. says that David Pakman quote-unquote spoke with him off air, and said he's nothing like what he is on air, but whether or not he actually believes that type of thing.
I watched that.
Is another story.
Yeah, I watched that also. I love watching David Pakman. So
yeah, David Pakman's pretty good.
Beth, you rock. You are on my cool list. Watch David Pakman. But okay, so bring this back around to Bryan Fischer because that's who we're talking about here. Again, he makes all these assumptions about Smith. Shepard, saying that he must be skewed towards supporting big government and the government Leviathan, which is fucking awesome. It's like there's a Leviathan,
right? That's it. I like
release the Kraken.
No, release the Leviathan.
Oh,
he just said that.
But sure, and obviously he's skewed towards supporting the president, President Obama and his homosexual agenda.
Exactly. Well, yes, and because Obama's also a liberal, because of course fits the stereotype.
Right. But so to break it down here.
Break it down.
Bam. Bryan Fischer thinks that because you are gay, you must be a liberal in all your political views, and therefore you will lie about situations like Ebola, because it is so terribad and must be taken as a thing you must be petrified of at all times. Bryan Fischer wants to paint Shepard Smith as someone who is uncredible as a conservative or a news outlet or as a reporter, and shouldn't be trusted simply because he called out the people like Bryan Fischer who use their national voice and access to the public to spread fear, hate, bigotry, misogyny, and isolationism. Bryan Fischer doesn't like that a pool of people potentially in his audience is getting a look at the other side of politics or even an opinion that has some valid reason and fact in it. Because when people hear Bryan Fischer's blatant ignorance and they hear someone like Shepard Smith associated with Fox, and they are actually interested enough to look up the real information about the issue, they will see that Bryan Fischer is nothing more than an old fear-mongering fascist.
That was beautiful, David. I didn't even want to interrupt you at all.
I know. But I know that you kind of stumbled when I mentioned isolationism.
Like I said, I wanted to jump in and just root for you, but you were just going. Honestly, that's really what it was. That's all I was going for.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Wow. Yeah. It's that man. It's so frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating. It's interesting because Amanda and I were just talking about this kind of thing earlier about like what happens or what the type of influence that you have being someone like Bryan Fischer, having a show with however many viewers he has, and spreading the nonsense he's spreading, just how impactful that can be and how important it is to kind of do what we're doing, and other people like us who should definitely check it out. I just think that's it's frustrating, and and fascinating at the same time to just kind of see that kind of thing.
Exactly, because I mean, Bryan Fischer, he has this huge following, and he has this corporation behind, or this nonprofit, behind him, and you know, he has the ability to spread very dangerous messages, and then when you actually get someone who has a little bit of reason and a little bit of fucking logic and a little bit of actual nonpartisanship into Fox News, people within his own party, his own group are like fighting to tear him down.
Right.
When he calls out the people on his own network.
Homie, don't play that.
Serious. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, this guy should get a show on RT.
Promoting RT now. Nice. All right.
Larry King is on RT. Everybody should watch it.
He's still on, really? Wow, that's fascinating.
I think his show is still on.
I had no idea he was still on. I know that I thought he left his show. Did he start another show?
Yeah, he went to Russia Today and had his own show on there for a little while. I don't know if it's...
Is it called Also the... Is it just like...
Also the Larry King
Also the Larry King Show, you know?
Maybe.
I don't know. Interesting. I have to go check that out. I had no idea that he was still on.
Yeah.
Fascinating. You know what's fascinating?
What's fascinating?
I saw a story about someone that we talked about a couple of weeks back. I'd say a couple more, like many months back, many moons ago. Many moons ago. But it was about that atheist that went to the AA. He was mandated to go to drug rehab or Alcohol Anonymous or whatever, and there were no secular AAs or whatever, no secular groups around his area, and he was forced to go to a religious one, and he refused to submit to a higher power, as I would as well, and he was sentenced, he was basically put back in jail because of it, and he was in the news lately.
Well, because it was a violation of his parole.
Right, that's right. It was a violation of parole to not go, exactly, and because he wasn't following that step of submitting to a higher power. Apparently, like I said, he was in the news lately, and he was actually granted $2 million because of how he was, how he was treated in the mistreatment. I have so it's around there somewhere down here. What his actual
It's right down there, man.
I know it's like way down here though.
Make notes for you, bro.
Earlier in the week, all this stuff. Yeah. Anyways, it's a violation of civil rights. That's all you really need to know about that. I just kind of want to touch on it because I thought it was kind of interesting to hear him. Like how many months it came back later. Didn't we say? Did you say 6 months? Actually, earlier in the pre-show.
The whole thing is a 6-year-long trial.
Yeah, it's been a 6-year-long trial, right?
Yeah, it's been 6 years since he was thrown back into prison because he violated his parole because he refused to. What was it that was said? Like the California Rehabilitation Center in Norco, California. Said that the decision to send him back was based on his name was Barry Hazel Jr. Yeah, allegedly was being disruptive, though in a congenial way, to the staff as well as other students. Sort of passive-aggressive.
And needing further treatment, clearly, because he's being passive-aggressive, because he's being forced into a religious situation, or at least a situation that he doesn't believe in, and it's basically just trying to be forced down his throat, and it's mandated by the government. And if he doesn't do it, he goes back to jail. Or he went back to jail. That was exactly what happened. So that's
Exactly.
Anyways, he was basically given $2 million for the violation of civil rights, and that's awesome. I mean, it's cool.
$1 million from the state and $925,000 from WestCare, or what was it? What was the name of the place? WestCare something.
Yeah,
this is what happens when you go off of the notes, man.
You know what? I would have read these notes, but like I said, I was putting together a desk, and then I literally had 4 minutes, and I'm not that fast of a reader.
Prior, you just have to read them during.
That's okay. That's true, but I'm too focused, like I said, on the people and your beautiful face when you're talking. I'm just mesmerized. What? Tell me more, David. Tell me more.
I know.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just thought that was fascinating to kind of see, that we were the royal we, the we atheists, that an atheist was rewarded. not just money, but actually was, it went through court and it was granted, went in his favor kind of thing. That's great to see and great to hear.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, some of the comments, of course. What is the name of this place? I had it here. I had it right here.
Oh, you talk? Oh, what? The West Lake or whatever? West Ninja. It doesn't matter.
Supposedly West Care was the only 12-step program that was used, and of course after this ruling and they had to give up all of this money, they didn't make a comment. But the California Department of Corrections had a statement that I thought was kind of funny, that they said in a comment that there was a finding of liability, which meant that the CDCR would have been responsible for damages and attorney fees. In lieu of the second trial, CDCR negotiated a settlement in the amount of $1 million. Currently, the CDCR does not require a 12-step program as a condition of parole. So not only was the 12-step program not a mandatory condition of his parole, but they forced it on him anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Forced it anyways, and then he was reprimanded for it.
Exactly. Simply because he did not want to, submit to a higher power.
Wow.
Fucking ridiculous.
Well, that's yet another example of the fun and fascinating things that religion can do to you.
Right. And I mean, like we said when we originally...
How it infects everything.
How it affects everything. Yeah, exactly. How religion just has this foothold in social tools like AA, where there is no other. Well, now there's a lot of secular AAs that are starting up, and they're popping up all over the place, but they're still requiring funding. Last I looked is that there was an organization that was taking the steps to actually become a national organization and have all of these separate chapters. But I haven't actually looked into it. Yeah. That way they can actually have some sort of standardized secular AA that can be used across the country and can actually avoid situations like that, so that people can get the help that they think they need through AA, but without having to take those extra religious steps.
That's awesome. I imagine anybody in that situation, if I was ever in that situation, that's exactly what I'd want.
Yeah. I would love that.
Yes, I would love that. Me too, David. I don't know what else to say about that. That's exciting, other than, I think it speaks for itself,
Totally.
Yeah.
It is exciting.
But I was curious. You wrote down this thing, and you said that you swear you saw it, and I don't believe you. But anyways, you were saying that you were saying earlier that there's some anti-gay activists. The anti-gay activist Stacy Swimp warns all SCOTUS ruling on gay marriage will bring about the end times. End time. So I wanted to know. Oh, you did put a link in here.
I did put a link in here. I found it.
Wow.
Minutes before we went online and after I had done the research for it.
Amazing. Look at you. Anyways, I want to. So tell me a little about this. What is this about? What's going on with this Stacy Swimp?
What's going on with this?
In the end times, David.
Well, Stacy Swimp is a fairly prominent Michigan pastor who is also an anti-gay activist, which I think is fucking hilarious that you can be an anti-gay activist, because let me post this question to you and to whoever. By labeling yourself, just you and whoever, I want you to think about this for a minute and get back to me, but don't you think that subscribing as an anti-gay activist, that literally means that you accept that you are a bigot and that you are spewing hate speech?
How long do I have to wait to actually answer this question?
You can answer right now if you want.
Yes. I'm going to go with yes. It has to. It
has to.
Honestly, you can't possibly think that you're championing some valiant cause of we're saving the people, the men and women, and not the men and women and women. Fuck them.
Families, yeah, we're championing.
Fuck them.
Values.
Unless they're the opposite gender. That's what I'm saying. That's what she would be saying. All right.
Yeah, I just think that it's hilarious how people can sit here and they will actively take on the role of being anti-specific group of people activist. It's fucking ridiculous. You're essentially putting yourself on the same level as the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists.
You really
the
are.
ones who sit here and who are anti-Jew and who are anti-black or anti-brown or whatever.
Yep. And it doesn't matter what you show them or what you say to them, they're just going to go along with, nope, this is what I believe and I'm okay with it.
Right, and everything that you do about it is going to be labeled as hate speech because you are anti this group of people who cannot change that fact about them. When it comes down to your sexuality, your race, and your gender, that is something that you cannot change.
Well,
how can you
can change your gender.
Well,
thank you, science. Ish.
Yes. Well, okay, sure. Maybe the gender that they are
originally born with?
Not originally born with, no, because, I mean, I don't want to sit here and deny people who are transgendered.
Of course.
The gender that you identify with, but, I mean, you know, I'm a woman trapped in a man's body, or I'm a man trapped in a woman's body.
Right, but that's the whole point of, like,
if you really feel like you are a man,
then I suppose that's your gender, right?
Yeah, I suppose that it's really subjective, you know? It's like,
no, I'd say that the gender would definitely be with what you what you would subscribe to, or what you feel you are, kind of thing.
Right. This could be an entire other conversation just talking about that.
I feel like Amanda's told me this once before, to be completely honest. Like, there's a difference between gender and sexuality. That's it, and that's totally. I think that's exactly what we're talking about now.
Where you can't really change your gender. I mean, you know, because your DNA, it you know, it's either you're a man or you're a woman, or you're, you know, you have like those.
Well, doesn't, I suppose, a man and a woman, the only thing, it's the physical parts that make the difference.
Right. That's something that is, well, no, see, damn, now we're getting into like a conversation that is completely off of what we were talking about.
More than just off topic. I've never actually done the research, so I have no idea. There you go. Thank you, Beth. Yeah, gender and sexuality are two different things. I completely agree, but I don't know what I can't remember exactly what the difference is unless you go click on Google and you can watch me type and slowly read it.
Well,
someone throw it out at me. Like, what is the difference there? Because I know there's definitely a difference, but I feel like, kind of like David and I are trying to get to, there, one of them you can't change, or one of them it's what you subscribe to or ascribe to.
Because like
what you are.
Like, where does sexuality really come from? Does it come from your DNA, or does it come from the way that your brain is?
It comes from God.
Gender is a social construct.
Sex is biological.
Biological. There you go, Amanda. Thank you.
See, that's why I married that woman.
Yeah.
That is why I married that woman.
Yeah,
yes.
So the muddy area that we're getting into, and I just want to say, practically, I wanted to say this every time. We're not experts in anything.
I'm an expert in everything.
Steve may have a degree from a big fancy college, and I may be going to get a degree from a big fancy college. Somewhere. But we're in no way experts on things like this.
Gender is fluid, sexuality is fixed. Like that says. Nice way to put it. All right, cool, nice.
Does that kind of go away from what Amanda was saying, where gender is a social construct and sex is biological?
She said gender is fluid. So gender, the social construct be something that changes, because that social construct can change, right?
Right.
Whereas the other one's fixed. I think that's what she was saying. Beth said
we're set, but then
fluid. The other one is set.
Sex and sexuality.
Right. That was the same thing. Perhaps I misunderstood that. No.
Well, I mean, your sex I would think would be, you know, either if you have a penis or if you have a vagina, or in the case of, I guess,
I always just put great on applications when I put sex. I'm not really
fantastic,
sure.
Right?
Superb,
right?
Would do again.
And then your sexuality, but then see that brings in saying that it's not fixed. That could bring in the question of, oh well, then it's not a choice, or it is a choice. It is a choice to be homosexual. Then to say that your sexuality is not fixed.
I'm really confused right now. I'm really confused. This is what I think would happen earlier. This is why I couldn't remember the difference when Amanda started talking about it. It was just like, oh damn, there's a lot of questions I have, and I'm getting
can
confused.
start talking.
Right here, let me just go get her. I'll be right back, guys. No,
Right? Yeah.
she's in the other room. Yeah, no, I imagine we'll get more into that. Actually, you know what we'll do is we'll do a show on that kind of thing. We'll have a show a little bit later, and we'll bring Amanda on, and anybody else actually that kind of wants that perhaps wants to talk about it.
Exactly.
And like I said, maybe we'll try to get this call-in thing working. I can try to click it again if you want to just random try it in the middle of this thing. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna push this button. Okay, so she was talking about end times. Where does the end times come in at?
Right.
We completely missed that.
We'll bring this back to the forefront here of the actual story that we were talking about. Jeez, that was a huge divergence there. So yeah, Michigan pastor Stacy Swimp claimed claimed last month that a Supreme Court ruling, legalizing gay, fucking damn it, a Supreme Court ruling legalizing marriage equality throughout the country would bring America into the biblical last days. Caught myself there. He told this to another anti-gay activist, Molly Smith, in September. He said, "I see America looking like what Jesus said the world would look like, as it was in the days of Noah. So shall it be when the sun returns."
What?
So
Really
supposedly because the world, in his view, in Stacy's view, is looking like the broad description in the Bible of what the end times would look like. He thinks that this is really the mark of the end times, because he continues to say that in Noah's day you had complete lawlessness. Men did what was right in their own eyes. According to the Bible, there is no moral boundaries in what men respected. And so we are at the threshold in our global society. If this happens to become law, you're not going to see complete chaos. If this becomes law, you are going to see complete chaos and lawlessness. Yeah. And he said that adding such a ruling would lead to broken families and escalated crime, and that homosexuality and lesbianism is just one component of lawlessness that we're seeing in our society, and that the LGBT rights movement and, get this, Islam and global terrorism are working together to silence the gospel.
Of course they are. That's actually what I just read about. I was going to actually try to enforce that later on in the show. I got a website that everybody can go to for that. Totally. No, that's ridiculous. Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, not only is he attacking homosexuals, but now all Muslims are terrorists.
Well, it's this Christian persecution nonsense again. That this whole, you're trying to push away our gospels and take it away. Like, no, we're trying to get you guys to shut the fuck up, because I'm sick and tired of hearing your nonsense shoved in my face. It's a nice looking dick. That's great. Put it away. Don't shove it in my face.
Right, and that's exactly where he went with this conversation, saying that Christians are facing persecution in America today, while Muslims and Buddhists face none. He said, quote, "You don't see Muslims, by the way, who disagree with marriage protection being persecuted in America. You don't hear about Buddhists and all these other religions being persecuted while fighting for their religious freedom. Christians have to do that." Exactly. Well, that last part I kind of ad-libbed from what he originally said, but yeah, he basically said that it's Christians who are persecuted, of course, in America, which is bullshit.
Of course, no, of course they are. They definitely are. I mean, just look around. Look how much we atheists and Muslims and Hindus and everybody else, how we are forcing them to not go to church, and we are, we're stoning them and we're killing them for going to church and to spouting their beliefs. And I mean, think about it. If you go to, like, Kent Station is a great example. I can't count the number of times that I've gone to Kent Station with my family, and there is someone standing. There's a Muslim or a Hindu, someone standing there shouting that we deserve to go to hell. Wait. It wasn't a Muslim or Hindu. Should be going to hell. Hold on. It was oh wait, it was a Christian. That's right. Yeah, that's right. They're always standing in the corners. That's right. I'm so sick and tired of hearing this nonsense.
Yeah, and I mean, to back that up, sure, some of these people will be confronted by, atheists and people like us on their bullshit, but Christians are dominating in Congress compared to Muslims, Hindus, Jews, and Buddhists.
Exactly. Name a president of the United States that has been something other than a Christian.
Right.
Name one. Go.
I picked up the numbers for the 112th Congress, and there are 304 Protestants, including Baptist, Methodist, Lutheran, Episcopalians, and Presbyterians. There are 156 Catholics, 15 Mormons, 39 Jews, 3 Buddhists, and 2 Muslims. And only 6 people have refused to state their view on religion. And yeah, like you were saying, we activists have to fight to get their garbage removed from our public spaces, like the 10 Commandments and shit.
Yeah.
It's like, if the only way that we can get around this is all or none, and unfortunately a lot of the times, or fortunately, however you look at it, the solution has always been none. And so that's an automatic...
That's the best solution.
Right.
Then you don't have the chance of favoring anybody.
But if you're not willing to take that solution, then the only remaining solution is to accept all religions.
Exactly. But then, yeah, exactly. Which is, we're kind of running into now, at least in certain cases, right? We've seen a number of things. But then we talked about this before, I think, before we left. But then we run into cases where that we talked about, I think, 2 weeks ago about the religious. That fucking idiot that said that he's not going to answer any questions because it was against his religious belief or whatever, right?
Exactly.
And that was, ruled in his favor.
Child labor at the pecan farm.
Thank you. That was it. You know what I mean? Then you look at shit like this, and it's because people cling on to this nonsense of religion that they think that they're going to lose something, and they think that by taking it away and actually going, okay, fuck what it is that you actually have to think. Let's actually look at this from an equal perspective, because I don't care whether you believe in one God, 1,000 gods, any gods. I don't fucking give a shit, because that has nothing to do with how we need to proceed and treat each other, and how our government and how our laws need to be dictated. Because fuck what it is that your nonsense book that was written 25,000 years ago. You know what I mean? Fuck that. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what it is that your book has to say, because I don't get my reason. I don't get my morality from a book. I don't get my morality from somebody telling me how it is that I should be treating people. I get it from, how I view things. I get it from. Fucking A, I get it from a reasonable from evidence, from looking at, from empathy, from empathy and compassion. Thank you. That's what I was thinking. Sorry. From reason and empathy. I can apply reason towards situations and empathy, and I can put myself in somebody else's shoes and say, now would I like to live in an environment that perhaps involves killing people or stealing shit? No, I wouldn't, because I don't want to be killed and I want my shit stolen. And it goes on from there.
Exactly.
Treating people similarly to the way that you want to be treated, or at least treating them the way that they want to be treated.
Exactly, which is why I always find it funny when people will try to say that all of our moral groundings come from the Bible and the 10 Commandments, where it's like, you really think that we as a people could not have sat here in little tribal groups and said that it's a bad thing to kill one another, so we're going to punish whoever kills someone for no reason?
Yeah,
or
we accepted at one point that it was okay. It was not okay that we killed anybody within our tribe, but if we killed someone on the outside of our tribe.
On the outside from another tribe, exactly. We're going to punish the people who kill others in our tribe, but if we go to war or if we kill someone from another tribe, that's not detrimental to our group. It may be detrimental to their group, but I'm more worried about my group here and the survival of my family and the people that are in my community. And then once our communities grew and we started to gather more people, that was perpetuated into other groups, into other tribes, into other societies, and other cultures. It's not hard to see it.
Right. They communicated. They worked together, and they just started, just like you said, well, hey, in our crowd, we didn't want to kill anybody, and I see that you guys agree with the same thing. Why don't we work together? Let's not do that. But it's, for me, like I look at, okay, well then when people, you know, what is it that's used to justify these horrible, heinous acts? What's the tool that demands the same type of respect that is causing this kind of fucking nonsense? And you look at religion. The Bible, exactly. The Quran, just religion in general. Religion has been the tool for thousands of years that has been used to justify horrible, horrible things. And personally, as an outed atheist and somebody who really fucking cares about other people and cares about the betterment of not only just for my children but my children's children and the people around them, it really scares me to see just how much religion has an influence and how so many people care about respecting religion and keeping it, you know, you're not supposed to say anything bad about it because there's so many people who believe it. Fuck them and what it is they believe, because they're perpetuating this nonsense. They are allowing other people who are using this tool, using religion for horrible things. And I'm so tired of people just trying to pretend like their support or their belief isn't supporting people using these tools, because it is. Like it or not, because I don't see these people standing up and saying shit when Christians are misusing their tools. I don't see other Christians standing up and saying, you know what the atheists are saying about secularism is right. There might be some out there, but generally speaking, the people that I've spoken with and the people around me and the Christians that I have talked with and have been around in my life do not stand up when somebody uses their religion for a horrible thing. They sit back and they go, well, it's not in my church. I wouldn't do that. They misinterpreted it. That's not really what it said.
Football analogy. The football team.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's so goddamn frustrating. Absolutely frustrating.
Well done.
Thank you. We have 9 minutes.
Good rant. Yes. But Beth, again, here makes the comment.
It was Beth H.
Beth H. Sorry. Said that Kennedy was Catholic, and back in the day that was not a cool thing, which is
cute.
You know, an interesting point, because, you know, Mormonism, you know, like today is not necessarily the cool thing. Like that was the thing that people were worried about when Romney was running, because the fact that he was Mormon. And it's like, do we really want to have a Mormon president? You know, do we really want to have the first Mormon president up in this ish? And yeah, it's just funny how the religious preferences of who we would allow in our highest rank of office changes. Because now I don't think people would bat an eye at a president who's Catholic. But back when Kennedy was in office, you know, the people were freaking out. They're like, oh, it's a fucking Catholic in office.
Well, right, exactly.
What are we going to do?
Right? And it's just, that kind of thing, again, it just, for me, taking a step back and just thinking about that statement, we're talking about politics, and there's the whole separation of church and state, and the fact that when you talk about Romney, or, you know, you bring up Romney, one of the first things, I mean, for me, that was probably the first thing that I'd heard in response from the people around me was, well, he's a Mormon. It was like, well, what does his religion have anything to do with his politics? It should not have anything to do with it, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not, again, not an
Mormon in office.
I'm an expert in everything.
Listen to what I have to say.
Sorry,
if we get a Mormon in office, he's going to make us all wear special underwear.
I already wear special underwear.
And
oops, I wasn't supposed to say that.
So I mean, did, like, you know, my recommendation take away that, you know, crack rash that you were having there?
It really helped. It really helped. Yeah, and the ointment that you gave me too was really helpful.
Totally. I am going to need that back, by the way.
Oh. All right, I'll get the remaining residue out and back in the bottle. And there goes all our viewers. Bye, ladies. Thanks for watching. We're here.
Heretic Woman made a good comment here.
Did she? I'm trying to find it. Was it just the TH? I'm going to select that one. TH. Yes, it was.
No.
And to you too.
No, but the more global we become, the more global morality becomes.
Absolutely.
Which I completely agree. You know, as more people become integrated into a specific culture, then the morality of that culture gets integrated into the society that is adapting to it.
Are you by chance suggesting something like atheism become, like, is normalized? Like, if we're normalizing something like atheism, for example, and how that the morality of not coming from a God just
That
becomes
is
more of
a horrible transition.
I don't know what you're talking about. I thought it was fantastic. No? All right, fine. Fuck you and your face.
I mean, we are talking about that next week, but I mean,
We are.
Yeah.
We definitely are.
No.
And like I said, we have 5 minutes, so we're gonna wrap up anyways, right?
Well, sure.
Sorry, I'm so like.
Oh yeah, and that's another good point, Heretic Woman, that Mormons take vows to always defer to the prophet, so could be a conflict. Exactly. That is a really good point where the what would be the head pastor of a Mormon church is someone who is considered a prophet, and so they go into a special room where they speak to God and they speak to Jesus.
That's what we do.
They like convey that message because they're a prophet to the God, and so
welcome to Prophetcast.
Right, it would make sense that he would have to, for every fucking decision that he had to make in office, if he doesn't already, he would have to go and talk to his church's prophet and figure out what God wants him to do on that. It wouldn't even be his own opinion on the scriptures or what he thinks. He would have to go to his church and talk to his prophet.
His prophet, and that's a very key point. His
church has a different one.
Each church has their own. Exactly. There's no exactly. There's no this unified prophet. There's no these like thought prophets. You know what I mean? Like they don't just conform into a single group and then like prophetize on a room like this where there's perhaps only 2 of these prophets that are allowed to speak to God.
Totally making an inclusive group.
That's nice. I like how you're talking into the cup there. That was cool.
Does
like
it
theater style.
Interesting. No.
Anyway, so we have 4 minutes. I wanted to see if there was anything of all of that funness that we talked about. We talked about some great stuff tonight. Was there anything you wanted to, any last words that you wanted to get in? You felt you didn't get to say?
Not really. I mean, Bryan Fischer, as always, is an idiot.
Yep.
This fucking anti-gay activist. I mean, I really do want to put that question out there. I mean, like, wouldn't being anti-gay, like calling yourself an anti-whatever activist, aren't you just basically saying that you're a bigot and that you're spewing hate speech? Why would you want to do that, and why do we allow these people to not be labeled as fucking hate criminals, hate crimes, every time they go out and fucking speak?
Yeah, it sure seems like it to me. People not wanting other people to have the same exact thing they have because because a book says it, because
I don't know.
That's usually it. I mean, I haven't heard a good secular reason, to be completely honest, so I'm going to go ahead and go on.
Only have one religious reason. What you talking about, Heretic Woman? What you talking about?
I guess we're going to have to look into this. Perhaps we're going to have to talk with David from Book of Mormon again.
Just talking shit, I guess, out of my ass. Because
with a full beer down there, it looks like. No, we're going to have to actually talk with David from Book of Mormon then, like I was just saying. We'll have to bring him back and actually ask him some of these questions. Yeah, so because I don't know, I actually know how that kind of stuff works. So, or maybe we'll talk to Heretic Woman. She seems to know a lot. That's strange. She's a woman. I thought the Bible says that they're not supposed to like talk. And you know what I mean? I'm just going based on what the Bible says. That's not my opinion. It's what the Bible says. I was just
anyway.
What?
2 minutes.
She's gonna punch me later. That's the sad part. I don't know if she's close. No, I don't think she's close to me. But I feel like my wife's gonna punch me for her. So Heretic Woman, I'm sorry. I love you. Sorry. Anyways,
did you have any funness to wrap up on?
No. I mean, like, so I kind of got that rant that it's just such a frustrating thing for me that I've just been thinking about that lately more and more, and I kind of wanted to investigate it more about the, I just don't see a lot of Christians who, or at least religious people who necessarily step up and fight against people misusing their religion or misusing religion and misusing the tool of religion and that kind of thing. And again, I'm not saying that they're not there. I'm just saying that I'm currently ignorant of it because I just recently started thinking about it. But I can think of the people around me and those that I have asked. Like I said, none of them have stepped up.
The majority opinion that you see or that you're able to find
so far, right? I'm not happy. Yeah,
that it's not my church. These people aren't
exactly
Christians. No,
they're not interpreting it right exactly, or whatever. Jesus changed it or this changed. There's always some excuse, and there's never like a, you know what, that's bullshit, let's step up and do something. It's always an excuse and a runaway. And again, I'm not saying that's everybody, but that's been my experience. And I am, like I said, I'm just getting really tired of religion and, you know, being used as a tool for fucking, like I said, yeah, to infect everything and ruin everything, because it ruins everything. Everything. 5 more times. So, no, that's all I wanted to really get in there.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top so I can remind everyone, because, you know, we've only been doing this for over a year, and I still don't know all of the things that we do.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We have so much stuff. No, I'm going to be updating thoughtprophets.com here soon, so you guys can check back on that in the next probably week. That'll be updated, and there'll be some new stuff. It's going to be a lot simpler, and it's like super freaking old right now, so I'm really sorry. But you guys can check us out on Twitter, Thought Prophets and Prophetcast, or you can join our Facebook group by simply searching for Thought Prophets. Find us on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher, or go to podcast.thoughtprophets.com, and you can find our entire archive on YouTube by searching for Prophetcast. David, thank you very, very much for being here with me this
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I look forward to our show next week. Again, everybody, check out our show next week when we have our first official agree to disagree agreement.
Yeah, it's a discussion, right? I don't want to call it debate or put verses or anything. Like, it's just really a discussion
exactly.
to have.
I mean, it's not a debate. We're in no way going to sit here and have like all right, Paul, you get 4 minutes, and
2 points, Paul.
You, Mark, get this however minutes. No, I mean, we're just gonna have a discussion. We're gonna lay out that we're talking about the hashtag normalize atheism. And, you know, we're just going to try and come to, if not an agreement, an understanding of each side and what the purpose of it is. And bringing out these issues that are surrounded by, you know, bandwagoners on hashtag and, you know, real people getting out there and doing something behind the hashtag and opinions. Yeah,
exactly.
So
it's going to be awesome. And again, everyone, that's Paul from Koreanify Me and Mark and Ebo from Be Secular. So definitely go check out their stuff. Get prepared to be ready to ask some questions, because we're going to have Q&A. And if this freaking Uber conference thing ever fucking works, I'd love to talk with someone and have questions and things, but I can never get it to fucking work. So anyways, again, thanks everyone for coming and watch the show, and you have a godless night.